What books do you consider to be the embodiment of what children should read? So I have really let go of my determination that every kid is to read X book because each kid is unique and needs books especially for them. I want them to try new things because I want them to fall in love with reading, but by choosing for themselves. So by book talking, by doing readers advisory sessions, by really getting to know kids and finding out what they love and then giving them access to lots of different kinds of books. By creating communities of readers and sharing my love of reading. I think it's really important that we share our reading lives with kids, that they know what we're reading. And then bringing books to them, like I read this and I thought of you and I knew this was for you. And making sure, for example, I purchase juvenile books for our library, so I'm always going to keep an eye on, oh, I know this kid is really going to enjoy this book, so I'm going to make sure I purchase it for our library. All of that to say that there isn't that one book. But I love a lot of books, so I'm going to just tell you about a whole bunch of books that I love and I think everybody should love, that are really the embodiment of greatness in children's and young adult literature. And that said, hopefully something within this pile will be something that will resonate with you and hopefully your students. This is going to be super quick fire. I don't even know if I'm going to get to any book talks, but I'm just going to show you a bunch of books because given the chance to talk about what is quality in literature basically means taking everything off my shelf, and you don't have the time for that. Okay, so first books I have to talk about is the crossover Barn Girl Dreaming and Deafo. I was on the 2015 Newbery Award Committee, so these books are firmly in my heart, are so powerful, but they're also amazing books that appeal to kids across different ages. Kids love Deafo and Barn Girl Dreaming and the crossover. They encounter them at different stages. I've seen really young kids encounter Deafo. I've seen college kids who love Barn Girl Dreaming as well as young readers. Crossover I've seen has been a really great book that gets kids in the door and excited about reading because it's a book in verse, so there's all this delightful white space. The white space is where your eyes can take in the story and really process it. Poetry is such a powerful tool to get kids excited about reading and to make reading accessible for them and manageable. You must read Owly. Owly is a comic, just images, not text. So this is really great for emerging readers. But it's also challenging, which I like, that you have to really figure out what is he saying. But it's just so sweet. I love Owly so much. And there's more coming in 2020. But still, One Only Ivan. I kind of like this book, so you can tell from my sticky notes. This is the first chapter of One and Only Ivan. Or the first chapter. Hello, I am Ivan. I am a gorilla. It's not as easy as it looks. That's the first chapter. Imagine how accessible that is for a kid. It's really powerful, talking about activism and empathy. Kids love this book. This is Hey Kiddo by Jarrett Krosoczka. He's famous for the Lunch Lady series. This is a graphic memoir. It's YA, and it's exceptional. I predict now that it will receive a whole bunch of awards. Let's see. In the case cover, which is the jacket and then the thing underneath it, because this is an ARC, it doesn't show it. But if you go to his Instagram page, he showed it, where you take this part off and underneath is him as a kid with the shadow of the older kid. I started to tear up because this is really powerful. It's really honest about his experience. His mother was a heroin addict. He was raised by his grandparents, and it's really unflinching in his struggles, but also really powerful in the way that he used art to manage all the things that are going on in his life and to express himself. And there's actual art from his childhood in it. It's really, I love seeing that. I don't know if there's a word for it, but there should be, because I think it adds layers upon layers to the story. I'm going to stop talking because I have too many books to show you. I was talking earlier about these two books. This is Another Brooklyn by Jacqueline Woodson. Highly recommend it. It's marketed as an adult book. I totally would give it to teens. There is Harbor Me, which just came out. A group of kids who teacher give them an art room, a room to talk, and we need to provide rooms to talk for our kids. It's a really powerful book about community, about being a safe harbor for people. It's an ensemble of kids, and I think it really asks some really important questions and doesn't shy away from really hard things, but also really just important things that we need to talk about more with kids, and kids are hungry to talk about. It's just beautiful. Her writing is exceptional and extraordinary. Speaking of Jacqueline Woodson, this is a picture book that she published right now also. This is based off, sort of the catalyst was a poem in Bright Girl Dreaming, but this is a perfect beginning of the school year or starting new picture book for all ages about beginnings, how challenging they can be, and how to find your people. Also, be the people for others. So it's just gorgeous. If you want kids to fall in love with reading, just give them Raina Telgemeier's Smile and Sisters. Graphic novel, memoirs, kids eat them up, they love them. It's really, really powerful. So like, she also doesn't shy away from the difficulties of her dental drama and mean kids at school, and but she has this sense of humor throughout, and art is a really big part of her life. They're just delightful. Order of Oddfish is a hilarious fantasy that has things like cockroach butlers, pointless quests, obsolete weapons. There's an apology gun. There's a girl named Jo who was left on a doorstep, and which had a note on her that said, "This is Jo, she is a dangerous baby, and she has a destiny." It takes place in a totally different world than you know, and yet you want to go there. It's hilarious. It reads aloud really, really well because James Kennedy is hilarious. I cannot recommend this book more. I want to talk about fantasy. The Girl Who Drank the Moon doesn't have a sticker because I got this before it won the Newbery. It is beautiful and evocative. It has a tiny dragon who thinks he's enormous. It has a swamp monster who's a poet. It has a witch. It has a girl named Luna with powers she doesn't know she has. It has everything. Ghost by Jason Reynolds. Just get everything by Jason Reynolds. Put it in your personal library and your classroom library. This is another book by Jason Reynolds, which is for everyone. The Track series is just an exceptional series. Ash by Malinda Lo is a queer retelling of Cinderella, and it is beautiful. Read all her books, and she writes in all different genres: science fiction, fantasy, fairy tales, suspense. She's just amazing. Cindy Pon is another incredible writer. This is very much based off of Chinese mythology about a 16-year-old Sky Bright who finds that she isn't who she thinks she is, that she may actually not be human. Yeah, it gets really intense, and it's also about just like self-discovery and identity and magic, monsters. It has everything. Tree is perfect teacher fodder. It's about a girl named Owly who doesn't know how to read, and she's been passed through into 6th grade, and then there's a teacher who notices her and helps her in a community of kids who help her see herself in new ways. She is such an amazing, evocative thinker. She thinks outside the box. She has movies in her mind, she calls them. The writing is exceptional, and this book will just make you feel all the feels, but also maybe help you understand kids a lot better. So I love it. And she herself was a teacher and had lots of experience with kids, and also this sort of is semi-autobiographical in some ways. Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue is hilarious. The audiobook is incredible. It's about a sort of a cad named Monty who is very privileged, and his father is giving him an ultimatum: you have to shape up or I'm going to take away your fortune. And so he's going on a last whirlwind trip around Europe and gets into lots of fun trouble. It's so fun. Give Me Some Truth by Gansworth is about a kid named Carson who's in his senior year of high school, and so he wants to start a band, and he lives on the reservation, and at the same time you have a girl named Maggie who's just moved back to the reservation from being in the city, so it's multiple points of view. And I love Eric Gansworth. His stuff is amazing, and I love the music about it. A window into culture and very specific, writing an own voices story. And so we definitely want more Native and First Nations books in our classrooms and in our lives. Okay, it's a lot of books. I hope I haven't overwhelmed you with all the books. I probably have, I'm sorry.